Coco. She is a Lhasa Apso Poodle mix. So mom wants to do not quite half on her body, or off of her body, and then she just wants me to clean up the face and barely touch the ears. I'm just gonna probably just round it off a little bit, make a little cute teddy bear face. She doesn't have any dry skin, so that's good. So I can just use whatever shampoo I think would work for her. She doesn't have a very thin or thick coat, so I'm not gonna use conditioner because that'll weigh it down too much. So first I'm gonna hook her up. I'm gonna make sure that there's just like a collar, 2 fingers, just to make sure that they're not choking themselves. And then I'm gonna make my shampoo. This is already rinsed out and sanitized. She's a little shaky, so I'm gonna use my lavender shampoo. The lavender will help with her nervousness. This one's about 32-to-1, so that means just a little bit of shampoo to a bunch of water. It's a lot easier if you put it on the jet mode. Most shampoo is diluted because if you don't dilute it, then it'll be way too strong. It'll take way too much water to rinse out of the dog. And of course, in a mobile van, we want to save as much water as we can. And also it helps you save money. You don't have to buy so much shampoo if you're buying your own shampoo. I'm just gonna give that a good shake. Okay, so I like to use shower on the dog. It's not super strong, but it's strong enough that it'll get the dog nice and wet. It'll also help with getting the shampoo off. Never spray directly in their eyes or nose because I don't think people would like that either. But everybody's different of how they put their shampoo on, but I like to just do the whole body first and then rub it in. And rub that in. Give her a really good rub. Make sure to get the booty and the other privates really good. Be very careful when they have really skinny legs. And I like to go out with the ears. A little easier not to mat them. And then, I don't know if you saw, I put it in my hand to get underneath the chin and up here a little bit. And then I'm gonna use some face shampoo. This is what I'm currently using. I'm probably gonna switch it because it doesn't work as well as I like it. Most of them are blueberry scented, but you don't have to get blueberry, it just helps with the smell. I just like to put a little dab right there and then if they have any boogies, it helps get them off. And then I use the leftover on the rest of the muzzle. And this is not diluted, I just pour it straight in there, usually with the muzzle. If you dilute it, it will not work out at all. And it's got also exfoliating beads in it, so that'll also help with the tear stains in addition to the little eye goops. And she's all ready to be rinsed. I always start from up here and go down because otherwise you're just going to waste water. And don't spray directly into the butthole either because, again, that's probably uncomfortable for the dog. If you can't get the stomach very well, you can lift them up if they tolerate it. And then I'm always going down towards the nose instead of directly towards it, so you don't get in the nose or the eyes. Make sure she's got, sorry baby, no shampoo left on her. You see any bubbles, then you don't have her rinsed off. Another time saver, squeeze out the water first before getting the towel on them. And also squeezing helps with, again, making sure there's no shampoo left. She got a little bit of bubbles, so you can see them. And she had a little bit more. Again, I'm just getting her as dry as I can with the towel before even putting the dryer on her. Sometimes the power will go off in these vans, so there are some things you can do. Take the dog with you, of course, because you don't want them jumping off the table. If you want to look in here, do you see the 2 breaker boxes right there? So those are supposed to be lit up, and they're not lit up right now because the dryer decided to kill the breakers. So we're going to try to restart them again. Just push these buttons. I just pushed this button again, and the dryer went on, so it works. Oh, she's a little damp, but I'm not gonna mess with the dryer because she's gonna dry in enough time. by the time I get to it. So I always like to get everything ready before I start her, so I don't have to keep moving her around. So I'm gonna start with this one. This is a 3/8 equal to a 4 blade. Mom said just a little bit of a trim, so that might be it, but I'm gonna try one length up just in case. Clippers. I got my brush, my grinder, all my 10s and 30s right here, and then my oil and my clip combs I'm gonna use, and then a toothbrush. Some dogs you can't trust with the stuff on the table, but she just sits here most of the time, so I'm gonna trust her. I'm gonna take a 30 and I'm going to oil it right on the sides. We're gonna try a 1/2 inch first because as we saw earlier, this one was kind of leaving a little bit, so we want to see what this one looks like first. Just go down her back a little bit. I feel like that might not be enough. Let me try again. Yeah, that's not enough. So we're gonna go down again, back to the 3/8. And that looks like a good length because it's barely taking anything off, but it's enough that it's a trim. It's enough that it's a trim. We're gonna brush her out just to make sure that there's no tangles. If they get caught on the tangles, you will see it, and sometimes it's hard to clip it out or blend it out while you're scissoring. She feels pretty good, but I'm gonna go over the whole dog just in case. And again, you're always going to brush out with the ears. Never brush in because you can cut the skin. Also, brush from the skin where the skin starts. Don't brush any further than that or you'll hurt them. Most of the time their tangles will be right here. Be very careful of the skin flap here. That is a very, very, very sensitive area. You can cut that super easy. And then I like to brush it out of the way of her eyes while I do the muzzle so you can see a little better. Again, be careful with the eyes. Do not want to get the eyes. And then always out this way for the muzzle. Sometimes they have a thicker muzzle up here, so you want to brush it in layers. So pull it up from the lip. Be very careful when you brush around by the lip, but if she had layers, and it would be able to get the extra knotting and mats out easier. And again, I'm going to go over with the comb. Her ears are actually dry, but if they were a little bit damp because the dryer doesn't work or they don't like their ears dried, whatever, brushing it will also help get the extra moisture out. Okay, so we already figured out this is the length we're gonna do, the 3/8. Back brush, you can do her whole body or you can do it one brush at a time. Either way, it usually stays fluffed up. If it doesn't stay fluffed up, just do it one brush at a time. Watch the direction that I clip her, because if you do it the wrong direction, it'll look awkward. And I can show you on her because it will blend it out a little better. So, down the back. And then about halfway where the ribs are is where you want to start going down, like this. And if you don't do that, it will look awkward later, because this is a little further down. It will make lines. I don't know if you can see them very well. There's lines here that you normally aren't supposed to see. And if she wasn't fluffy like this, it would be really hard to get those lines out. So you want to make sure this way up until the middle, about the middle of the ribs, and then down. You can go straight down or you can go to an angle down. That really doesn't make a difference, but if you're going backwards or reverse, go at an angle. Because if you don't go at an angle, if you just go up, it's not going to get all the extra hairs. You want to stop right about here. That's where the Sani is going to be, which I'll show you later. When you're shaving the legs, you don't use too much pressure. If you use too much pressure, they have all these little ligaments and tendons and stuff right here, especially right here, that you can cut very easily, especially with a blade. She's got a little paw pad right here, and you can use it going down this way, but don't go over it, of course. You're gonna just use scissors later for that. On the front feet, you don't really need to worry about holding anything behind it. Just hold her leg up. I like to go a couple times. It helps get all the extra stuff you missed. And sometimes, like her, their body's already super short, so the legs are usually already scissored. so barely anything will come off. But it still helps set the length of the legs. So you still want to flip them. So they got their butt, so you want to start like right before the butt. So we're right here where the tail is. Don't go too far in this way, especially if you have a blade, because you're gonna worry about that after the sani area. And then right here, if you put your finger on the other side right here, that'll pull the skin up through a little bit so you don't cut that part as easily. And you want to do that on the other side too. So again, follow the direction of the hair. Be very careful right here. And then if they're tiny like her, you can lift the other leg. Again, be very careful to skim it. Don't go all the way down. With the tail, if they have like this big poof right here, it'll look awkward when they have it down. So I'm just gonna go down to about right where it starts. It's right past there. And then so it won't have that big poof right there. And then you can always trim that out later. I like to hold the chin hair down a little bit. Start at the occiput. The occiput's that little bump right here on her head. You can't really see it, but you can feel it. Move the ear out of the way, where the ear starts. And again, you're being very careful on the neck. Start about the middle right here, down. And then you can either hold her chin up, or you can just, if they don't like it, you can just put your hand in the way, like this. You get the chest area. Now I'm gonna go to the sanitary. Always use a 10 on the sanitary area, because it will not cut the dog as easily unless the dog is super sensitive and the owner tells you that it's super sensitive. Some dogs are super sensitive with their skin, so you don't want to use a 10. So I'm just gonna hold the tail up. Here's the butthole, so you want to go in a big circle around it. Never go directly over the butthole, because you could cut them, and of course I'm sure that hurts. If they got any hair there, you can just use your finger lightly, scoop it to the side, you can get it easier. The goal is to make it so that when they poop, it doesn't get on their hair. So if you see this stuff sticking out right here, some people prefer all that gone. This person didn't say to do a big sani, so I'm just gonna keep that there and I'll trim it in later. Okay, now I'm gonna do our armpits. So I'm gonna go from the back first, and then I do the front. If you do it from the front first, it's a little harder to set the line. So I'm gonna pull her armpit, or her arm up a little bit, and then go from underneath. Just skim it. So it's gonna look like that. Just a little bit missing. It just helps with matting. They always get matted in their armpits, and nobody brushes them armpits right there. Pull her arm up and skim. So it looks like that. You don't want to do it too much, because then of course it'll look funny when you're trimming them. Same thing. Skim it. Just making sure to get all the mats out of there. And yes, as you can see, she likes to put her head in the way, so you will constantly have to put their head up. Okay, now we're going to do the other part of her sani. I'd like to take your tail, build it up with the leg a little bit. Again, keep in the range of motion. I like to start with this part right here, which is the tuck up. You can see the skin flap right here. That is very sensitive, so just be very, very careful not to cut that. Lift up a little bit. She is tiny, so I might have to switch methods. Skim it. And then because she's so tiny, I'm gonna do this method instead. Hold her paws up. Sometimes they put their tail in the way, so try to keep that over there. You're gonna start about, you can see where her line is already. Start about there. Unless they have matting, then you can go higher. And just skim down the leg a little bit. Same thing over here. You wanna get the vulva as well. I'm gonna do the paw pads. You use a 30, You can use a 10, it won't be as clear. I mean, clear. Yeah, the hair will be harder to get out. If you're more comfortable with a 10, you can. But you can use a 30 or a 40 as well. I like to use a 30. Start at the nail, go up, just go straight up. Don't go in the paw pads itself. And then you can also go inside right here, but only right there. Do not go here or here or here or here. That's nice and clean. We're gonna do that for all of them now. And take all the extra hair off that she stepped on. You can go out a little bit, but just be careful, because if they're getting a longer length, it might look funny. Straight up, in, straight up, in a little bit. You're not using a bunch of force right here either. Use a little bit too much force so you can make them bleed. The only time that it should be bleeding, possibly, and again, not that much, would be if they have mats there. And then it's kind of unavoidable. But if it does bleed, just put some Quick Stop on there and it'll help with the pain relief. Now I'm going to use a different 10 than I used for her butt because we don't want to do the cross-contamination. And we're going to do her face really quick. There's 2 little spots. We're going to do her corners of her eyes and her lips. So you're going to get just the very corner to get the eye gook out. Most of the dogs that have eye gook, it'll help with that. And those are all clear. Now we're gonna take the lips, as much hair out as possible. You can hold their muzzle shut, it helps a little bit. Hold the chin hair back, go up just slightly, a little bit, and nice clean lips right there. Let's do her nails. So I like to do the football hold of the little dogs. Put their tail in between their legs like this and hold it so it's out of the way. Sometimes you have to reposition, make sure there's no hair there. And I like to grind the nails if they tolerate it. Whenever you grind the nails, you want to make sure to stop right about when it looks like this, when it's got the black part, the quick. And I also like to grind them in a smooth, round area so it doesn't scratch the pet parent. If they are tiny and you can't get under there or they're not liking it, you can also do this. If they are not putting their face there. If they're putting their face there, this isn't a good method, but we'll see how she does. And you just gotta guess where it's at then. But keep looking. Not gonna get it as clear or round, but she's being better this way. Sometimes it'll be inside the paw pad just a little bit. Hers isn't quite touching, but I still like to trim it a little bit, so I'm gonna go grab my clippers. I'm gonna grab this Quick Stop just in case, even though it doesn't look like it's too close. I have these baby little clippers. It says it's for cats, but these are perfect for edges. Where it's gonna be right there, that's where I wanna clip. Just a little bit. So you don't wanna go on the quick, but it'll help when it grows in, it'll help grow the right way then. So then that's clipped a little bit. I think this one too. Okay, so I'm just gonna grind the rest of them now. Our nails are done. Okay, now it's time to trim. You can use a comb or you can use a brush. Again, groomer preference. I'm going to use a comb today. I'm going to use my straights. I'm going to start with her front legs to set the pattern or the length. Comb everything up. And then you just want to trim whatever's sticking out. Hold still. I just like to go around a circle around the leg. Sometimes they'll move their feet, so be careful and always watch what they're doing with their feet and their legs. You don't want to accidentally take a chunk out of their fur or their skin, of course. Always make sure you're looking at where you're trimming, of course. Also, when I'm scissoring, I like to not scissor all the way down, just in case, because if you make a mistake or don't do it at the right, the right pattern, then you can fix it easily. Also, if you're skimming with your scissors and not going all the way down, it's a lot harder to cut the dog if they move into your shears. I'm going to take this right here, just make a straight line. Again, be mindful of the paw pad, make sure that they're not moving into it. Adjust your hold if they are. Sometimes they like it like this. She's totally fine like this. I'm just gonna even it out with the rest of this. It just helps so it doesn't drag on the ground. And then I like to also do the feet at the same time as that same leg. That saves time. I'm just gonna start this way and then go around. Take your finger or your thumb in between, get all the extra hair, brush it up. You want to use a brush for this part because if you use a comb, a lot of dogs are sensitive to the comb, especially if they have mats there, then you won't catch it accidentally. And I'm just matching this part to up here. And then you can put her foot down, brush it down, and that'll help. And that looks like a good foot right there. So I like to start up here because that's where the hair is connected to the rest of the leg. And just go straight down. You can use the curves. See how it kind of matches the curve a little bit. You can use the curves for that part if you want. And then flip them backwards for this part right here. So it's all, again, it's groomer preference. I like to use straights. Helps a lot easier for me. So you don't have to go keep switching back and forth because this part would be a straight. Okay, and again, I'm going to go to the foot first before I go to the next leg. Same thing, trim across the bottom, switch to the brush, brush it down, straight across, and around. Just follow the nails. So she might have a mat. Sometimes you can just tell because it clumps together a little bit. You're going to take the small tines and just brush very carefully on the edges. She didn't really have a mat, it just wanted to clump together. Same thing on the other side. Oh, and when you're scissoring, sometimes the angle of the shears matters with certain dogs. She's got that fluffy coat that is like kind of poodly, so if I do it at a certain angle, it won't really matter. But if I do it straight down on most dogs, it will be fine. If I go this way or like up this way, different angle than up and down, it'll look awkward. You'll see the lines later, like drop coats like Yorkies or Shih Tzus. So you don't want to do that on those guys. Again, you're going to start up here, go down at an angle, just follow the angle of her leg. And then going straight. I'm going to scissor down here. Anything that is sticking out. Be very careful, you don't want to get their nipples, especially when they have a shorter length. And then you just want to flip her over. Same thing on the other side if there's anything sticking out. I'm going to trim her tail. If they don't say anything about the tail, which this one's mom did not, you just have to figure out what kind of tail they have. Just trim it a little bit unless they said don't touch it. She has what is called a plume tail, which Shih Tzus, Maltese, and Lhasas have. So we're just gonna do a little circle like that, a little twist, and then we're just gonna get the very ends of this twist right here, and then brush it down again. So it took off a little bit, so it's a little more awkward. Now you're just gonna follow this line from this very short part, but not make it short. Just even it out a little bit this way. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. You don't have to do the twist thing again. Don't do that again, but brush it down and from both sides. Otherwise it'll look awkward later. And then just even it out on this side as well. Okay, so that's her tail. Okay, now we're gonna do her face. I already brushed it out, but they always move by that time, so I'm just gonna brush it down a little bit. I'll take my comb. I'm gonna start with her ears. Mom said barely touch the ears, so I'm just gonna trim the very, very end. She looks like she's got ears that are kind of straight, so we're just gonna go straight across the bottom. And then it looks like it's a little uneven. We're just gonna go to that ear back again, because sometimes you'll trim one ear perfect and then you'll have to go switch this or change the length anyways because it doesn't match up with the other side. So just make your basic line and then check, look straight on, see if it is uneven anywhere. And I like to just get any uneven spots from this angle. Don't do this if their ears are extremely short. Hers are just long enough that I can do that. Because you don't want to cut their ear, like the flat. See if there's any sticky outies. And just trim those. And you're gonna use your comb or your brush. Her ears are even now, so they're done. Okay. I'm gonna do her curves. And I'm gonna do her visor. Actually, first I'm going to put a 30 back on here. Okay, and we're gonna go get that comb that was 2 lengths longer than what her body was. Follow this pattern. So it looks like it's not taking anything off, so we're gonna go 1 length down. Some dogs you're gonna have to just guess which length. I always start at 2 lengths and then go down if it doesn't look like it's taking anything off or it doesn't look right. There we go. If you go down the ear a little bit, it'll help blend it down so it won't be sticking out like this later, and that looks awkward, like she's got double horns or something. Pull the ear up, get her cheeks. The line is about right here, right where the muzzle starts. Same thing on this side. And you want to go all the way down. If you go just a little bit, it's not going to help you at all. You'll have to scissor a lot longer and a lot more. So I'm going to take, this is my favorite length to do on the chins. It's a 3/8. It is the same length as the body, but that doesn't really matter for most dogs. The short chin looks really, really good on most of them. So I'm going to go backwards, up towards her nose. That just helps set the length of the chin so you don't have to have it perfect. Okay, so now that that part's ready, I'm gonna start at the visor. I like to start on the side. And then just go all the way across. Good girl. And then just keep brushing it forward. As you can see, you can't see her eyes really yet. Okay, so that's a good visor. And then next up for me is take the lips. Very careful, make sure she's got her mouth shut, so I like to hold it shut. Especially if she was licking like she was earlier. And just a little bit of trim right there. Same thing over here. Depends on the dog. I like to either do the chin part first or the muzzle. For her, I'm gonna do the chin part first because it'll help set the length. So she already has a super short chin. So I'm gonna go from that line that I just made. Just gonna go that way. And then we're gonna turn her around a little bit so we can look at the side. Just gonna make a big thing. You follow the cheek line. So then it should be a nice good line like that. And we're gonna do the same thing on this side. Go up to the ear. You can even get this stuff out of the ear if they're not moving their ear. And just get whatever's sticking out past that part. All the way across. I'll do that same thing on this side. Get whatever's sticking out on the ear. And then go this way until I got everything that's sticking out. Okay. And then we're gonna do the muzzle. So I like to brush it every which way, brush it down, brush it up. And then start in the middle, make a line, and then just go down a little bit. So it makes a little roundness right there. Match it with the other side. Again, keep brushing it up. Keep working on that same shape that you're trying to work on the top. Once you get the top, then you can work on the bottom, but we're gonna make sure the top is right first. And we're just gonna barely take off at whatever is sticking out on the sides right here. She already has a muzzle, had her muzzle that was already shaped, so it's really easy on her. I'm just evening it out, making sure it's nice and neat, making sure it's not in her eyes. And she's got a lot of stuff that's sticking out right here. You want to make sure it's not sticking out past her lips. Again, use the thinners. If you use the straights, it's a lot harder to make it look nice because it's not, or it'll make a line and then it'll look awkward. You're just combing every which way because when she shakes or when she moves around, her hair is going to be moving around with her. Once I think I'm done, I will give her head a shake and then see where her hair lands. Sometimes you can use your fingers for the eye parts. Take the ears, do a light shake. You can do that or you can blow on them, but some dogs will not shake their heads like her. Okay, so you can see that the stuff is sticking out right here. So because her hair is really soft, I'm gonna use thinning shears instead of my straights or curves. And I'm just gonna take whatever is sticking out and blend it so it looks more even up here. And then don't keep trimming in the same spot, because otherwise that's what makes the line and then it'll be harder to blend it out. And then put her head down a little bit. I don't know if you can see, I'm just holding her muzzle. Not enough that she can't breathe. And then you take her ears, pull them forward. If there's anything sticking out right here, always be mindful where the ear is. You don't cut the ear. I already took most of it, but there's some stuff sticking out. You can see that. Just get whatever is sticking out. And we're gonna go on the other side and do the same thing. Brush your ears down. She's got this sticking out right here. You can hold the ear down, out of the way, and just get whatever's sticking out. Again, these are like what would cause the double horns, which especially with a cute dog like this, you don't want to give her double horns. And you can see it's sticking out up here. So I'm gonna take that too. Look back here, make sure it's not sticking out. Nothing's sticking out, so we're good right there. Okay, let's look at her face. A little bit on the chin. She got some stuff sticking out up back here. Careful right here because that is her neck, so you don't want to cut it. Just do whatever's sticking out. Just don't go up into it. Hi, my name is Anneliis. This is Coco. She is a Shih Tzu Poodle, and I just showed you how to groom her. So level of difficulty for her behavior-wise, she was very, very good. She didn't look at the shears or anything. She barely did anything for the nails. So she was like a, I don't know, a 10 out of 10 for that. So we'll see you guys next time on Groomers University.